Long ago, in a land where every sunrise painted the clouds in gold, there lived two phoenixes, Auren, whose feathers shone like molten sunlight, and Serenya, blazing in deep crimson fire. They were guardians of the most precious treasure in the skies, the crystal of dawn, a jewel said to hold the very first light of the world. As long as it shone, mornings would always return, and the land would never fall into darkness. But there was one thing phoenixes feared: complete darkness. When there was no light at all, their flames weakened, their wings turned cold, and they could no longer soar through the heavens. One day, without warning, a shadow unlike any storm swept across the valley. It swallowed the sun. It was the work of Morval, the sorcerer of eclipses. He had stolen the crystal of dawn, plunging the land into endless twilight. Serenya tried to chase him, but the darkness weighed down her wings. Auren soared after the thief instead, until a whirl of shadow magic trapped him inside a black crystal prism, high above the cliffs of silent echoes. From within the prism, Auren's voice was faint. "Don't give up. Find a way to break the darkness." But from the cliffside came Morval's mocking voice. "Phoenix fire cannot burn in my night. Tell me the secret of your eternal rebirth, or remain my prisoner forever." Auren refused, and with a cruel laugh, Morval vanished into the shadows. Serenya landed in the valley, her flames dimming. Beneath the silver trees, she wept, until a wise old tortoise named Balin approached. "Why do you weep, Flamewing?" he asked. She told him everything. Balin thought for a moment, then pulled from his shell a shimmering cloth. "Wrap this around your wings. It will keep you warm, even in the dark." With hope flickering inside her, Serenya set off for the Whispering Gorge, home of the wind spirits. When she arrived, the air began to hum. A spiral of glowing dust formed the shape of a hawk. "Child of flame," the spirit said, "why do you seek us?" Serenya explained her quest. The spirit nodded. "We saw Morval's shadow drift toward the forest of endless shadows, but beware, that place drinks the light from all who enter." They gifted her a silver feather. "If your fire fades, burn this, and we will come." The forest was darker than she imagined. Branches leaned toward her, whispering secrets she didn't want to hear. Suddenly, a fox with glowing eyes appeared. "I saw a black prism carried over the river," he said. "The shadows took it to the stone serpent's den, but you can only pass if you bring him a gift from Mirror Lake." At Mirror Lake, the water reflected not the forest above, but visions from far away. Serenya saw Auren inside the prism, his light growing faint. A voice rose from the rippling water. "You seek my gift for the serpent, do you not?" "Yes," she said. "Please. My love is trapped, and the world is dying without the dawn." "Then take this drop of dawnlight," the lake spirit said. "But once it leaves my waters, the shadows will follow you." She caught the glowing drop in a crystal vial and flew toward the serpent's lair. The stone serpent was enormous, coiled like a fortress. "Why do you approach, little flame?" it rumbled. Serenya held up the vial. "A gift, a drop of dawnlight from Mirror Lake." The serpent's stony eyes widened. "I have not seen such light in an age. You may pass." But as she entered the narrow pass behind him, black tendrils of shadow began to creep along the path. At last, she reached the cliffs of silent echoes. Above, chained to a jagged spire, floated the black prism that held Auren. Morval was there, weaving his magic into the storm clouds. "Release him," Serenya cried. Morval sneered. "You dare climb my cliffs? Your flame will die before you take a single step." Serenya felt her warmth fading, but she clutched the vial of dawnlight and smashed it against the rocks. The drop burst into a golden glow, pushing back the shadows just enough for her to leap upward toward the cliff. Morval's eyes narrowed. "So, you've brought a piece of dawn. Let's see how long it lasts." Music swells, and that is where our story will continue. Serenya climbed the jagged cliffside, the glow from the shattered dawnlight pushing back the darkness with every step. Above, Morval's shadow magic churned like a living storm. From inside the black prism, Auren called out, "Serenya, you must destroy the chains." But Morval stepped between them, his cloak of night swirling like smoke. "You will never reach him," he hissed. "When the last ember of your flame dies, the crystal of dawn will be mine forever." Serenya's wings trembled, but she remembered Berlin's cloth and the silver feather from the wind spirits. She wrapped herself tighter in the cloth and pressed the feather to her chest. A gust of wind howled through the gorge. The wind spirits had come. Their voices swirled around her. "Strike now, child of flame. Burn the shadow at its heart." Morval laughed and unleashed a wave of black fire. It hit Serenya like ice, and for a moment her flame faltered. But deep inside, she thought of Auren's golden light, of the first sunrise they had ever shared, and her heart ignited. With a cry, she spread her wings wide, setting the silver feather ablaze. The winds caught her, lifting her high above Morval's reach. The sorcerer roared in anger. Dark tendrils shot upward, wrapping around her legs, dragging her down. Serenya twisted midair, breathing a burst of crimson fire into the clouds above. The flames tore open the storm, and for the first time in days, a beam of real sunlight pierced the darkness. Morval shielded his eyes. "No, you cannot burn the sky." But the light was already spreading, melting the black chains that held the prism. It began to fall, and Serenya dove after it. She caught it just before it struck the rocks, her fire melting the prism away. Auren stumbled free, his golden feathers bursting into flame once more. "Serenya," he cried. She smiled, her own fire blazing brighter than ever. Together, they turned to face Morval. The sorcerer tried to summon another storm, but now, two phoenixes burned against him, their flames swirling into one brilliant blaze. With a final scream, Morval's cloak of night crumbled into ash. The darkness fled. In the distance, the sky began to sing as the crystal of dawn reappeared in a halo of light. It floated gently into the air, returning to its rightful place above the world. Sunrise returned, brighter than it had ever been. Warmth swept across the land. The silver trees shimmered, the rivers sparkled, and every creature looked up in awe. Berlin the tortoise appeared at the cliff's edge, smiling. "I knew the fire in your hearts would outshine any shadow." The wind spirits whispered one last time. "The dawn is safe, for now." From that day on, Auren and Serenya guarded the crystal of dawn together. But they no longer feared the darkness, for they had learned that the truest light comes not from the sun, but from the love and courage that burns within. And when the storms returned, the two phoenixes soared through them side by side, leaving a blazing trail of hope across the sky.